Good morning, everybody. It's supposed to be in the low 70s here in Southern California today. So I'm really looking forward to that. Um, I don't normally cover stuff like this. I mean, I have. I'm not saying I haven't, but I don't I'm not completely up to speed on the lore of Gorlicbread, other than my personal observation is he gets too personal with some of the other reactors, in my humble opinion. So, anyway, let's take a look at what's going on here. By the way, I have no love, no respect for busy little bees or bee buzz, whatever you are, because you did an entire panel on me me, without knowing my content, and just searching the web for shit about me that was done by a supposed political activist who took my clips out of context. Is this how you guys ride? Okay.
What is going on, guys? Welcome back. Commentary for you. And I know you hate the drama. And to be fair, I do too. I held on to this video. I wanted to make sure that I felt good about posting it. And I do. Because I feel like this is an example for every creator in this space. That you need to defend yourself. It's your responsibility to defend yourself.
Yeah, on top of it, by the way, she did that panel for House of Hannibal. And in 24, shh, baby girl, quiet, quiet, no, let's pause, hold on. Okay, let's get back to it. Miss Sally doesn't like other dogs. Just gonna be real with you. The smaller ones don't seem to bother her as much, but the mid-size and up really, she needs to like puff herself up, right? And make it clear that this is her house and she's guarding it. So there's that. All right, let's see what he has to say.
Yourself when you're labeled this way. So, Busy Bee, I don't know where you come across calling me a racist, but I'm going to need you to show me some proof of that. I'm also very...
Yeah, Kalari did that to me as well. So I'm not sure if that came up on her panel, and that's just how they like to smear people, is just to throw out shit like that they have no clue who I'm friends with, who I work with in real life, who I know. And I mean, like, it's such a ridiculous thing. Who I watch on YouTube. You don't know shit about me. Can't.
Very interested in the gatekeeping of straight men you do in this community. I mean, perhaps I missed it. Someone correct me. Did we have a girl world political race? Did someone elect Busy Bee to gatekeep straight men and I wasn't aware? It's interesting, though.
I don't know, honestly, because I don't watch her. I didn't even watch the panel she did about me. And so I really don't know what her problems are. I've heard that she allegedly has domestic violence that she perpetrated in her past as well, that her guardians in this world of girl world want to protect her from. It's such an ugly group of people. I'm so sorry that when Kalari said, watch House of Hannibal's panel, and I checked it out, and I jumped on the panel a couple of times. Biggest mistake in my YouTube history. I'll tell you straight up, that one was moving circles with all kinds of shit people.
You seem to enjoy Rampage's new video and how she burns me.
Look at this. Bam. Bam. Oh.
That's really, I guess, what brought all this on with you. Tweeting about me when I'm not even on Twitter. It's interesting because Rampage, in her video, named the state in which I live, cited that I had caused a multiple car accident that had damaged property to the point that my license was suspended. And none of that is true. Not one aspect of that story is true. And I responded to that video.
Yeah, I don't understand, Rampage, why you did that. Like, I've covered some of your material before when it involved other shady type of reactors who were, doing the wrong thing. But, like, to just pull this shit out of your ass like this, that's pretty messed up.
I asked her to provide proof of those claims. And when she was asked to, she decided she needed to, quote, abort the mission. So in short, she knew she fabricated claims about another creator and couldn't back them up when called to task. There's few things that are worse than that in this space. With that said, let's start to talk about hypocrisy. And I mean hypocrisy to the level Chantal would likely blush. Because when you're not a, quote, straight creator, Biz a little B has some strong feelings. That if you make things up to hate someone, well, you need to just be thrown in the trash. So help me understand. Rampage can make a video, fabricate things about me.
Well, hold up. Are we talking about she only attacks you? Or is she also attacking Sin and Sass? Is she also attacking Mr. Snowflake? Like, how deep does this go?
Everyone go watch it. But when it's someone else, that's hate or trash content. And keep in mind the whole making things up in the back of your mind, because we're going to come back to that with Mrs. B. Because like I said, Miss B loves to talk about me on Twitter, which I find strange. I really don't know, outside of maybe a handful of comments on your videos, if we've had a lot of interactions. But here she claims I am, quote, stalking Gigi's every move.
No, somebody probably recruited her to do this, just like they did with the House of Hannibal panel.
So, for the record, I am stalking the person who came to my state to print court records. The person that I don't have a single video about. You feel qualified to say I'm stalking them. And don't worry, Miss B. I know you're probably sweating a little bit. I'm not going to discuss any of your legal issues because, my goodness, if credit cards was the only thing you had to worry about. But since you wanted to bring up my, quote, fake illness, let's talk about how you started your channel. Because it seems like you talk a lot about an illness, and your friends seem to think this is all grift-type content, correct? You'll never find a GoFundMe I started. You'll never find me asking anyone for help or assistance financially. But they love to simply bring out this grift concept to the platform. So when you started your channel talking about being unable to walk and then giving this health update that you could walk, which is, by the way, fantastic. I'm very happy that you're doing so well, but I'm genuinely confused. I mean, I bring up a health issue and we have this huge debate. I'm dry begging, I'm grifting. You do it, and it's no problem. It's rules for B, but not for me. But let's move past that, because I'm glad you're back on YouTube. Your channel's just your hobby, and based on your Twitter, it's a hobby you spend a lot of time on. But to return, you had to leave, right? You can't just come back if you've never left. So let's talk about you leaving. Let's talk about when things got so heavy, couldn't lift our wings, couldn't fly. Just 2 months ago, we had to take this break. We might have even grown out of this era of our life. I mean, I sure hope this wasn't trying to get sympathy or grift. Because I understand, look, making content can take a lot out of a person. So with that in mind, I wanted to be fair, right? Let's look at some of the content you've made that was just so exhausting. Let's start with this 20-second clip. Okay, in this clip, you narrate, and this is a quote, "What we're looking at here is security footage from the TJ Maxx where Mama Lynn and Amber Lynn went. And this was posted on the Reddit, and I got it from Instagram. Goose or Us on Instagram reposted this. And so I'd like to have a discussion in the comments. Does this look like two people are mother and daughter and actually get along? Because I have questions." So, Miss B.
What a weird thing to ask. Why would you... Do you think Amberlynn has cast her channel? Is that where we're going here? That she has cast and scripted her channel? Is that what's happening? And by the way, she did have to regroup after the second arrest of Hannibal, and finally put together a video apologizing for supporting him.
I think you understand. Your friends have this very strong stance about using others' content. It's hard to understand why you would do this. I mean, this is taking a clip from a third party, and that's one thing. But then you elected to only cite who was in the clip and where they were. I mean, that's not adding a lot to it. You advised to everyone that you didn't own this clip, and you had some questions that they might not be mother and daughter, that they might not get along, and you're concluding this when you know for a fact that they are mother and daughter, and we do know that they got along. They were at a store together. But look, I don't want to sit here and just show one example. I don't want anyone to think that I'm being selective. So I went back and I looked at two of your most popular videos. And I mean, these two videos and the Amberlynn security footage account for 49,000 views. So that, as of today, is over 10% of your total channel views. We're not talking about, a small percentage here. And what you did was 30 seconds of voiceover work. So just to be clear, you take other people's clips, edit them together. That's the hard part. That's the real work. But I think a lot of other creators, particularly ones in this space that do commentary, would likely beg to differ. So remember, though, back in the beginning, I mentioned Miss B spends a lot of time talking about me on Twitter. Well, a lot of times it's just her calling me a leprechaun because I'm Irish. Now I know what you're thinking. Wasn't she just projecting about racism? Should she even be talking about someone's ethnicity? Well, okay, fair enough, because, again, I mentioned Chantal levels of hypocrisy. She's allowed to call herself, quote, culturally insensitive, which makes all of what she's saying okay. But fear not, she also feels she has the ability to say that I'm not even Irish. Mrs. B, my last name is Irish. Imagine coming on.
Okay, all right, Gorlicbread. Here's where you need to do some self-reflection. So you have an Irish name. You are Irish. Gotcha. You're American Irish, right? I think you were born in the States. That's fine. Doesn't really matter. That is your heritage. Yes? Okay. You have stated on this video, it will come up, that FFG is not Jewish. That is not true. If you're Irish, you are more than likely Catholic. You might be Protestant, but you're probably Catholic, right? I am also Catholic. I am a Roman Catholic. And regardless if I'm a practicing Catholic or not, I will always be a Catholic because that is how the faith is. Shh. Quiet. All right, hold on. Okay, I think she's done with that moment. The family across the street from me is moving, and apparently they did not decide to rent a U-Haul, so they're trying to shove everything into two, flatbed, pickup. They're not as small as pickup trucks, the bigger ones, but it's chaotic, and it's been going on for hours, and it's causing a lot of chaos and noise here. Anyway, let's get back to it. So, Gorlicbread goes for the obvious one, which is the coming after his ethnicity, coming after his, point of origin, his identity. But then he says that Frenchie is not Jewish. But you pointed to your last name first. And she has pointed to hers as well. She's a Feldman. Okay? To be Jewish, which is a race, Gorlicbread, you have to have a Jewish mother. And that's it. Whether you practice as a Jew or not, you are now Jewish. And that is your race. So I hope you remember that.
Line. And thinking you could insult someone based on their heritage. And then, when people call you out for it, the response is that that person must not even have that lineage. And make no mistake, this is no different than when Chantal was using terms like goblin to define FFG. The only difference is Chantal was not arrogant enough to cite that FFG wasn't actually Jewish. But thankfully, in closing, we don't have...
She is Jewish, Gorlicbread. You should take that back. You really need to take that back. And from what I read of these people who are attacking you, they're doing so because they want you to go after Yaba. Now, I can understand if you don't want to take a side, you don't want to get involved, blah, blah, blah. But Yaba has invited people within essentially a hate group to collaborate with her on her channel. That's up to you if you want to actually call out that behavior or not. I don't have enough details about this ex-husband with a meth problem or whatever drug he was allegedly doing, and his abuse of children. I don't have enough information to understand what happened. But I've been thinking long and hard about this obituary, and I can tell you both of my parents are alive right now, and neither of them, should something, God bless us that nothing happens. But they are getting older. If something were to happen to either of my parents, I can assure you, neither of them would be writing the obituary for the other. The family, the blood relatives, the current partners, they would be writing that obituary. Not exes.
Have to look far because of the hypocrisy. Because Miss B lets us know. Creators that make things up out of thin air, just trash. So, again, to come back to the beginning, Miss B, the only response I need from you, and I think also probably the community at this point as well, is proof of me being racist. You made the claim. You show the proof. It's your credibility. I'd hate to see you end up like Rampage, being exposed for attacking another creator and then having nothing to back up your claim when that person elects to call you out on it. Love to know your guys' thoughts on this. Appreciate you watching it. Be back as soon as I can with more commentary.
Well, I agree with you. I don't think that these people should be out there just making up shit. I think it's unhealthy for the community at large. It's confusing because we're already a community that's covering locals who lie on a daily basis to us. And we're trying to put that in context every single day. And these people are throwing complications into our research because now we got to worry about them and their bullshit. I don't know what to tell you. I don't know if addressing it is the best thing to do or just ignoring it because they're much smaller than you. And who cares what they have to say? You know? You know what Frenchie did as soon as Yaba fucking went batshit crazy earlier last week? She made one statement about it and then moved on to her regular job of covering Chantel. And that was it. That was the end of it. She rose above. That's where you need to be. You need to rise above. But you also need to be very careful about making light of anti Semitism. 2 cents.